What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. We just came back from the homie Kel's house. I took off a couple of hours to go get some material to make a shroud for the radiator so we can button up the cooling system in the Project CRX. Want to give a big shout out to Kel once again. Thank you very much for hooking it up with a new sheet of aluminum and then cutting it out on his plasma table to have the hole opened for the fan to draw the air out of the radiator. So I'm not going to talk you guys up a storm. Let's go ahead and pull that radiator out, measure out the shroud, and then cut it to fit so we can mount the fan on. So I want to show you guys this for reference before I pull the radiator out. You can see runner number 4. Runner number 4 is literally right in front of the radiator, and we have just enough space to put a shroud in, but the fan is going to have to scoot out to the passenger side. So the shroud, I had Kel offset the hole to the passenger side. You can see the gap here is 1/2 inch where it is about 1.5 inches on the opposite side. I'm hoping this will clear it, and if it doesn't, I may have to just scoot the shroud further over to clear the fan from the runner number 4. Hopefully you guys can hear me talk. This right here was cut out from Kel's plasma table, man. Big shout out. I took this piece as well too so I can use it for, like, you know, making brackets and stuff. And I already have a bunch of them here inside the little slide out drawer. So there that goes. So the width of the shroud is already a little bit short than the radiator core itself. I think we're about 1/2 inch short, which is okay. The height is definitely taller than we need it to be, so we need to trim it down. From the core measurement, we are 13 3/4, and the overall of this is 16 7/8. So we're gonna have to trim down a lot here. So I had the shroud trimmed to fit, and we are still that 3 1/4 short on the width here, but not a big deal. I did just test fit it in the car, and this is really close to the header, and I'm almost certain that this is actually going to be rubbing on the header. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat wrap that runner number 4 in case it does rest on the shroud. It's not like transferring the heat into the radiator and making it hotter. So right now I'm just gonna go ahead and get some foam. We're gonna do the same way we did on Project Blueberry, where we don't have edges on here to give it that gap. Instead, we're gonna use foam in between on all 4 sides, and that's gonna lift it off the core so it can draw heat from each part of the core out the fan. I'm also a little worried that the fan might be a little offset because of how close this comes to the header. So the fan might not actually sit perfectly in that 11-inch hole. It might just hang off a little bit like that. But I'm not too worried about it because it's all motor. We're not going to produce a ginormous amount of heat. And you know, I think it'll be perfectly fine. I did mark on the cardboard here where the header sits, so as long as the fan is out of the way of this, it should clear. So let me go ahead and grab some of my materials and figure out how we're going to do this, and then we're going to have to make mounts to bolt the shroud up to the radiator. Yeah. Fan shroud, drill and tap for 10 mil bolts. You can see one right there, one right there. I have another hole there and another hole here. So I just test fitted this right now in the car again and made sure that the fan does not touch the runner number 4. So it looks like we're gonna be hanging off just a smidge like I had thought. And right now I'm gonna go ahead and measure out some tabs to the radiator stay right here. Got a tab right here, and I need to bend it a little bit because it is not flush with the shroud, and I don't have a brake, but this will do justice because I've already done 3. Bend this thing real quick, a little bit more, flip it around. We're making the straight bracket into an S shape, and that should compensate the gap. So this should go right on there like that. It looks like it needs a little bit more bend in it, but it's going to end up looking like these guys here. So let me go ahead and get that last one done, and then peel this back, mark it up, take this to the table and weld it up. I just wanted to test fit this one more time, and it looks like we are fitting up really nicely. The header is not touching the fan at all. I did trim down a little bit of the tab just to clear the runner, and the runner is actually not touching the shroud as well too. I could shift it over a little bit more, maybe I'll do that, but we are ready to weld. We have the shroud tabs all welded up. Sorry for the glare. And I kind of made a boo-boo. I was so into making this shroud that I forgot to peel off the protective film on the backside of the tab, and when I welded it to this, it started sparking. So had to break all 4 tabs off, remove all of the film, and then clean it up, which is why the surface is all jacked up. I should have prepped it more, but regardless, the welds laid down really nicely on all 4 sides. So let's go ahead and get this thing bolted on. I did move the seal on the radiator, the window seal, further out towards the driver's side because we have that much clearance for the fan to the header. And which way did I have this? This way? No, this way. Okay, yeah, so I was able to scoot the shroud more towards the driver's side to get the fan to have more cooling surface of the radiator core. I was like, why is there no air coming through? Only to realize this is still back here. Ooh, yes, sir. I can feel it on all the corners. The shroud is doing what it's supposed to do. Now let's go ahead and get this in the car. So these are the hoses that I got the other day, and these are for 9093 Integra DA, which is typically what you're gonna need, right? But I test fitted this top hose and it seems short. It doesn't even fit. Like, what's going on? This is too far out or something, because if I line that up, look where the inlet goes, and if I lined up this over here, now that is over short. And if I line this up here, that is short, so can't use this. I could return it, but it is what it is. I do have this one here from my hose bin, and which way? This might actually work. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some hardware and get this lower one mounted up first, and then we'll put the top one on, and then some coolant. I still gotta find a reservoir. I am super stoked that the radiator is now 100% fully installed. We have the fan shroud made up, the fan installed. We have the wiring for the fan hooked up as well, but I need to find the actual plug so it's not a terminal into the OE plug. But it is plugged in for now just to make sure everything's all working. Radiator hoses, clamps, and all of the heater core coolant line around the engine is all done already as well. So this thing is ready for some coolant. I don't have a coolant reservoir. I checked my entire garage. I can't find one, which is surprising to me because I had a bunch of them before, but I want to keep it the OE style coolant reservoir. So I may go back to the junkyard to see if that EF sedan has one there, because I remember it being there. I just didn't grab it because I thought I had a bunch of them, but I don't. So maybe we'll hit the junkyard tomorrow. I'm probably going to put some coolant in here, but I don't think I'm going to be turning the car on and letting it idle for a long period of time to completely bleed it out, because it is getting kind of late right now. So all I want to know is make sure that this thing doesn't leak coolant on the floor, and then maybe tomorrow we'll just, you know, let it idle out on jack stands and properly bleed the cooling system. But let's go ahead and grab some coolant. I said F it. I'm just gonna go ahead and turn the car on for a little bit though. We're gonna fully bleed it out later, but for just a little bit, I'm gonna turn it on, turn the heater on, just so coolant can cycle, although there's not a heater valve. Oh yeah, kind of forgot about that. We do not have a dead battery. You see? It just doesn't want me to turn it on in the middle of the night. I guess we're not. All right, guys, so we're gonna wrap it up for today's video. Progress is better than no progress. It didn't seem like much, but we made a fan shroud finally for the radiator to mount up the fan and get the entire cooling system buttoned up. We did fill it with coolant. I did say I didn't want to turn on the car, and then I decided I wanted to, and then the car decided that it didn't want to turn on. So I got the battery on the trickle charger. Shout out to Jonathan for that, and hopefully we can bleed the cooling system tomorrow, and then I'll take it for a drive, make sure everything's good and dandy. There's only a few more things to button up with the car, man. Just waiting for the catch can to show up, and then install the 100-tune fuel rail with the 100-tune 1000cc injectors, and then the ECU from Nomis Industries, so we can power up those injectors, and then we can schedule this car for a dyno. I'm stoked only because after the dyno, it's really buttoning up the car. Bodywork, paint, suspension, shout out Max Peeling Rod. Still trying to figure out wheel and tire combo, and then really just getting this thing all prettied up before we sell it. I don't think there's another track day that we can take this car to go see what the all motor would do if it's successfully dynoed. But I really want to move on to the next thing. And this car, like I said, it's a flip CRX. It's to come and go, not to stick around and play like Blueberry, which we haven't really done anything. But anyways, progress is better than no progress, as always, guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video a little bit. If you guys did, be sure to leave a thumbs up. And if you guys want to stick around for more shenanigans here on the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.